You would always want to be on the side of having good credit.
Do you think it pays to have good credit? Tim, I want to close this episode on two complicated scenarios here. We're going to go by one here. The first thing is, and this is going back to those crazy groups that pops up on my news feed every so often with these realtor groups. I see a ton of realtors get mad when they're initially hired to purchase a home or sell a home, and the buyer decide to go a different route. I see posts over and over again where buyers have an agent, and they have no communication in like 3 months. The buyer's agent don't follow up with the client. They haven't called them. They haven't checked in. They're just waiting for their client to say, "Hey, I found the house. I want you to just set up everything and schedule a showing." That's their mindset. And these may be new realtors, I'm not sure, but they're just sitting around waiting for the buyer to reach out to them and say, "Hey, I did all of your work. I found the home that I'm looking for that's going to fit my family needs. I need you to schedule everything." So take that and look at it as some of these realtors, they're not following up. They haven't contacted the client. And guess what happens? You probably know where I'm going with this. They went to a new builder and their sales rep showed them the home and closed them. They're now under contract, and I know a lot of these agents, they sign an agreement to where they have to get their commission if their client purchased a home without them, or they can't use a different realtor or whatever the case is. But it's almost like these agents, they don't follow up with their clients, and then eventually their clients go somewhere else or they change their route. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit and put this more towards your side of things. Let's say if I'm a homeowner and I'm already tight on trying to sell my home, and I'm only selling my home because I want to pay off my car. I want to pay off credit cards. I want to use my equity because I just need a restart. I think maybe if I can sell my home and, start all back over, I'll be in a better position. And let's just say it's been 3 months and my home haven't had any showings, and I'm already feeling skeptical because all the equity that I want to use to pay off all of these balances is now going to go towards realtor fees and the buyer's closing fees and things like that. And let's just say I came across your product that can show me or teach me how to do this all by myself without paying 30 grand in commissions. Let's just say I wanted to go that route. How would that transaction work with me and my realtor? First of all, I know that would be very uncomfortable, but do you even advise me to fire my listing agent and say, "Hey, I've done some math. It's been several months, no showings, things has been slow. I think I want to take my home off the market. And eventually, if you do see it come back up, I'm only going to try and attempt to do this myself." How would that conversation go? And do you advise a homeowner to do something like that?
It depends on where they are. So I will tell you from an experience like that, like if you're not hearing from your agent at least every 7 days,
Mm.
you should be already looking for an alternative.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Absolutely. So when I brought on new clients, even if there was necessarily not any news with their listing, I would set up a search radius around their house, and every time a home went pending, every time a new home hit the market, every time a
Yep.
home sold, that is something that I reached out and I talked to that homeowner about, because it matters. If a new home goes pending, well, shucks, we need to figure out how they're different than us that got that buyer to buy that home instead of ours.
Yep.
If it sold, we now have up to date market intelligence on what the true actual value is of the house. Because remember, the value of the house isn't what we list it for. It's not what we want. It's not what it goes pending for. It's what the actual dollar amount of the check that was written. That's a
Hmm.
sold price. And if
Yep.
we have to pivot, buddy, we need to pivot quick because the
Yep.
market's selling at that price. If a
Hmm.
new home hits the market, it's our new competition. And if they look better than us, if they're priced better than us, again, are we going to help them sell, or are we going to use their listing to help us sell? Okay, I'd rather
Yeah.
be in bucket number two, right?
Yep.
So your listing agent should be talking to you regularly, even if it isn't necessarily to tell you, "Hey, somebody wants a listing appointment. Somebody wants to go see your home. Hey, whatever." They should be giving you regular updates.
Mm.
That's one of the biggest things that I've heard from people, their complaint is the guy, he threw a sign in our yard and he disappeared and we didn't see him for 4 months.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just outrageous to me. But it also, I put a lot of that blame on homeowners for allowing that kind of behavior. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the boss. When I sold for my clients, I worked for them. I made it very clear. I'll do what you say. I'll give you all the advice in the world, but ultimately you're the captain of the ship and I'm the first mate. You're going to tell me which direction we're going. Right.
That's it.
And so when you have an agent ghosting you like that, number one, it's partly because you didn't set the right expectations. You have the right at any time to cancel the agreement with your real estate agent. I know it varies from state to state. One of my selling points, and the reason I won so many clients is I put in a 24-hour fire me anytime guarantee, not this 6 months nonsense where you're tied to me for 6 months, whether I did my job or not. Yeah, you put it in writing and I put it in the addendum. Listen, if there ever comes a time where you wake up in the morning and you say, hey, this Tim Street guy was full of crap. He's not doing what he said he was going to do. I'm going to go list with my cousin Joni. Hey, fine, whatever. I don't care. But do you know how many times that was ever invoked with me? Zero. And it's because I followed up constantly. I made sure that I followed up enough that they told me when to back off, not me saying, oh gosh, I wonder if I'm bothering them. And guess what? Again, how many times I was told to back off? Zero. They never get tired of hearing from you guys. And this is for any real estate agents out there. I love you, man. And you can just do such good in this world. Follow up. Keep on your clients. Let them know that you're thinking about them. And so to get back to your original question, should they or can they fire their agents? Yes, they can and they should if the agent isn't living up to what their expectations of them are. Now, are they necessarily going to experience a better life going for sale by owner? Not necessarily. The attitude that created this monster where you have an agent who's unaccountable to you says to me that you've probably not shown a lot of initiative in driving this process forward, which tells me you're not necessarily going to get great results from doing an effort on your own. So in that instance, I would suggest it's probably an agent problem. It's not necessarily a property problem. I would say reach out to me. I'll do an audit on your listing. I'll look at what's going right, what's going wrong, and I'll give you an honest opinion. And if I have somebody in your area who could do it better for less than your current agent can, I'd be happy to make that introduction.
Right.
But if I look at it and I say, listen, you're in a really tough market. You're selling a 1-bedroom shack in a subdivision that has 7-bedroom homes with pools and jacuzzis and you're in a trailer. Yeah, I could see why it hasn't exactly flown off the shelf.
Yeah.
There might be so a lot of people blame the real estate agent, and also a lot of sellers, they will browbeat their real estate agent into what you had touched on before, which is my house is only worth 400, but I want 500 for it. And if you want this deal, you're going to list it at 500,000. Well, this poor real estate agent, it might be their first listing, so they're going to take it out of desperation. If somebody told me that, I would say, so you're asking me to work for free, basically, because I only get paid when this thing sells, and you're pricing this in a way that it's never going to sell. So if that's what you're telling me, there's no point in us having this conversation. I was very lovingly honest with people. I would rather disappoint them with the truth than comfort them with a lie, right? But there are real estate agents out there who are like, well, I'll stick a sign in the yard and it's never going to sell, but maybe I'll get some leads off the sign. And that works too, but you're not serving your client. You're not serving your client by letting them believe that lie that they told themselves. So
absolutely.
I firmly believe if they're in that position where they've got somebody who's just not doing the work, let's explore alternatives. And one of the ways you can do that is just go into my website. It's Foolproof FSBO. FSBO stands for For Sale by Owner. Yep. And I've actually put a quiz together for your audience. So if they go to foolprooffsbo.com/quiz, that's where I kind of get into the temperament and your situation. And it'll tell you after 7 questions, I'll know with 90% certainty, hey, you'd be a great candidate to try this on your own, or you wouldn't be such a great candidate, but I have people who will help you at a reduced commission. So either way you end up on the path, I'm going to help you.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. If you wish to be a guest on our podcast, visit SturgisCreditRepair.com and click the podcast page to schedule an episode. If you need help with your credit, you can also sign up at SturgisCreditRepair.com and start your free trial today.
Sturgis Credit Repair. Sturgis Credit Repair. If you want a new house, call us.